wanna be the best in the game. Invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout, and fame, mud, disease, and plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on this is war with the enemy. Think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every street. I won't let them fester me. I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working.
What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. All the beautiful peeps who are here, who are joining, who are on the replay squad. So much love to every single one of y'all. Hope y'all are all having a fantastic day, as always. Guys, we're going to be checking out some charts today. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. We got Gloria in the chat. Let me say hello to some beautiful people who showed up before the stream had even started. So what's up, Miss Gloria? Hello to you and all you good people. Please deploy the like on entry. Westcott Crypto, what's up, my boy? Co-host of the Pulse Nation. What's up, my boy? Hope y'all are all having a fantastic day. Hit the like and subscribe. Appreciate that so much. Crypto Khalil. Hello, Crypto Chino, LFG. And we got Heximus, Pulse Eximus. What's up, guys? Oh, hello, Jason Smith. Let's get it. Friends and fam, we got some fun information to be diving into today, looking at some good old charts, seeing what's going on overall with everything. But of course, as always, before we kick it off, like the stream, share the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It means a lot. It's greatly appreciated. And guys, let's check out what the markets are doing right now. We have Bitcoin sitting at $51,632.84. Again, it is still up in the 786 range. It does look like it wants to pull back. Every time in the bull market and bear market previously, before the massive run up, it has actually gone through, tested out the 618, possibly even the 786 level, but it always had a pullback before the actual bull market fully started. And if you think about it, this is also around the same time as the Bitcoin halving was this time last year. So checking it out right there, I do anticipate once again that we're going to see a pullback. How far the pullback really goes, we don't really know, right? We got plenty of news going on with the ETF happening, with Grayscale doing their thing, with all the ETFs as a matter of fact, right? So you got BlackRock doing their thing, IBIT doing their thing. All these Bitcoin ETFs are all doing absolutely crazy. So Grayscale, IBIT, FBTC, which is Fidelity, ProShares, ARK21, they're doing their thing, right? And they're going to continue to do their thing. So do we get the full pullback like we once had before? That's something that we will have to just wait and see. Or do we just keep on going and making new all-time highs, right? At this point in time, it is only roughly about a 135%, or I mean a 33% move to get back to the previous all-time high right now at this point. So it's not something I would be purchasing. It's not something I am purchasing, only because of the fact that a 33% gain just isn't really worth my time, but it is something to pay attention to. Again, we've used this in reference in the past, but if you invested $1,000, it would be $1,300, right? So it's not like it's the biggest gain ever in that opinion. So that's why the 30% move to get to the all-time high, while that could be absolutely mega bullish for the overall crypto market, it's not something that, again, I'm going to be investing my money into, but it is something I do pay attention to, friends and fam. We are on a nice little trend upwards as well. So if it does do a pullback, maybe we come back, we retest where the trend line is currently sitting, which would be right in this 33K range. That would also be the 0.5 fib retracement level. Very common on pullbacks that you actually end up having that happen. Again, you can see, looking at the past, what actually went down before. Now, this was a massive pullback. We got the COVID dip. We already knew what happened back then. But when it retested the 786 and it came back into this zone, ideally it was going to remain around the 0.5. It had a little pullback down to the 382, and then it actually started pumping back up before the Rona dip and all the nonsense that happened there. But it got rebought back up super fast on that one, and then it actually went off and did the tear. This is exactly kind of what we're seeing right now on the Bitcoin market. So it's something to pay attention to, because we're just doing the exact same thing. The cycle has, in fact, continued to go forward like it does. Ethereum sitting at $29.86. Again, this is on the weekly. So far on the weekly, it's had a high of $3,032. Now, again, if we break it out on the daily, I think it actually hit a little bit higher than that, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was around 30,000. No, got 32 right there. Cool. So looking at what we're seeing overall, that's kind of the two charts that we're comparing on this market. They are making all these new forms of higher lows as well, folks. So looking at the overall trend, this is kind of what I'm seeing on the Ethereum side, how high it wants to go. We just have to wait and see. But even a 4x move from this little point in time would put the Ethereum price roughly around $10,000. So if you are purchasing Ethereum, again, that is a good little move of 3-4x that money right there. So congrats to anyone who had, maybe even bought the Ethereum dip down here. I think it was around $800. Yep, $864. I had buddies of mine get that dip, scoop that up. They were like below 1,000 Ethereum. I'm scooping it up. So congrats to everyone in there, because even then at 1,000, you're still close to a 3x in profit. Well, I've shown this in the past, right? It took at this point in time to get a 3.3x, 616 days. Again, I am looking for faster moves and faster gains, which is why I'm paying attention to things like PLSX, HEX, and Ethereum HEX, because we saw that same 3x move within the span of 12 days on that one, right? So 3x move on that one was 12 days, and this wasn't the first time it actually happened from the all-time low of it being around this little zone in this little range. We actually got to see this as well, which is again 2.5x within the span of 75 days. But look at this mover alone, just right here, right? Massive little 2x gain within the span of 11 days. Pulse X was even crazier, looking at the Pulse X chart as well. And we're going to dive into some of the details on the chart. We have broken out of our wedge, but we are trying to hold it as support at this point in time. So we really want to make sure that we maintain the higher lows at this point in time. Essentially, if it does decide it wants to break out below this level right here, this would be kind of a not really cause for concern, because we're long-term investors in the first place. But if you're just trying to get a gauge of what could end up happening if it does break below the 4042 at this point in time, I would expect it to go down and possibly even retest its previous lows or previous local lows at this point in time. So that's kind of my ballpark. It's something I'll be keeping an eye on. At this point, it's not really too worrying, because we're still making higher lows at this point and higher highs like we've shown you in the past. So again, something to pay attention to: higher highs, higher lows, and higher lows, right? So we want to make sure we maintain these higher lows situation. We want to make sure that we pretty much try to maintain the higher highs situation as well. If that is the case, then I can see us probably bouncing here in this little wedge for a little bit, continuing to make higher highs and higher lows until it decides it wants to break out one way or another, which it looks like it would probably be around March to at the mid-March range before we, I guess, kind of get the confirmation as to what could end up happening as well. So just food for thought for everyone. That's the pulse chain chart is what I'm seeing. And yeah, just again, food for thought for everyone. Something to be thinking about, something to be paying attention to. Let's look at the overall charts as well, looking at gopulse.com. We got the price. Let me just pull up and refresh to make sure we're absolutely current. The price of Pulse Chain, 30131. Again, in the last 30 days, still up 18%. Pulse X sitting at 40491. Last 30 days, up 21%. So far, 707 billion. Pulse X has been bought and burned. If you are not familiar with Pulse X, my friends and family, this is a deflationary asset. It is a DEX for the Pulse Chain ecosystem, so it is a decentralized exchange. And all the funds that happen and anything that happens within that exchange, actually a portion of it goes to the buy and burn protocol, meaning that a portion of the fees are actually getting bought up on the open market and burned to a null address, never to be seen again, never to be dumped on anybody's head. And this is a deflationary asset. So at this point, when we first started, there was 21 trillion tokens, and now there's 20,448 billion. So we've already lost roughly about 700 billion tokens at this point, right? So that's the craziest thing as well. And if you break this down in USD terms, at the current price, that's $35 million that has been bought on the open market and sold or burned on and never to be seen again. The INC price, or the incentive token, is a fee token that you earn by yield farming in the Pulse X DEX. So if you want to provide some liquidity, there's a Pulse X DEX where you can actually yield farm that liquidity as well. thereby earning the Ink token. That one is up 41%. That one has also had 118,000 burned. This is not a buy system, but just burned, never to be seen again. And this number is going to be constantly increasing as one incentive token is created per second, to anyone who is unfamiliar with the Ink token. You got Hex on Pulse Chain sitting at 1.5 cents, Hex on Ethereum sitting at 2.091 cents at this point in time. Now I will say, Hex Scout, my gosh, dude, they actually came up with one of these things down here. And if y'all aren't checking out Hex Scout, phenomenal resource, phenomenal website. If you want to dive into maybe wallets that are transacting, staking, you can look in the last 24 hours, some big buys, some big sells, what's going on, what's happening. You can dive into all of this stuff, but they added this new item right here, which I am a massive fan of, and it's the all-time low indicator. So not only can you see it within how the performance of these tokens have done in the last hour, 24 hours, 7 days, and 30 days, you can actually now go from all-time low. And folks, look at this. From the all-time low situation, Pulse Chain is up 372x or 372%, meaning we got a 4.7x at that point in time from the all-time low. You have Hex again on Pulse Chain sitting at 5x at this point, 409%. Pulse X 467%, which is again 5.67% or 5.67x. And then we have the Ink token up 657%, or that one from the all-time low is up 7.5x. So this is an absolutely incredible feature. Shout out to Hex Scout for what a phenomenal tool this has done. You can see the APRs, the APYs, and that kind of stuff. And this is what I was talking about down below. If you want to dive into what these whales are doing, you can see this particular whale right here actually bought 3.1 million hex on this one just 5 hours ago. This one sent 15 million to an address, which we can dive into if you ever wanted to. If that's something that y'all enjoy doing, leave a comment down below. Let me know if that's something that y'all would like me to maybe dive in a little bit further into as well. That way we can actually check it all out. Let me say hello to some more beautiful people who have been swinging through on the chat as well. We got Bugs, what's up my friend? Rusty, hello. Hextra T-Shares, what's up? G Tall, what's up? Good, strong work ATX, I appreciate your conviction. Salute, appreciate that. What's good? Checks my pulse. We rich yet? LOL at work, I'll break. LFG Pulse Nation. Absolutely. We got Kaisa in the house. Kaisa does all these nice clips as well for the ecosystem of Pulse Chain and RH. What do you say? Crypto Pride asks, what you think about Ink future price? I'm mega bullish on the Ink future price, y'all. Mega bullish. Like, I've said it in the past, but I could see Ink easily doing triple digits for the price. If y'all aren't familiar with this, Ink actually at one point in time was sitting roughly around, and I'll just pull it up on stream as well. When Ink first launched, it did just a massive run up as well, right? And you can see this is an incentive token, so there has been some pullback as well. But when it first launched, it actually hit a high at this point of $82. And I think that was more or less kind of like just getting started, right? It was right at $80.67. I really do believe that that was more or less probably just getting started in that ecosystem. Mega bullish. No one really had any tokens. There was no sacrifice allocation. Anything that you earned, it was by either purchasing on the open market or it was through the yield farms. People didn't really have a whole lot of yield farms, and so they bought it on the open market and it just absolutely skyrocketed. For this same reason, I'm also mega bullish, not only because of the inflation mechanism, it's similar to the Bitcoin halving, but also at the same time, it doesn't have massive wallets who had sacrificed millions upon millions of dollars waiting to dump. Now, they have at this point in time been able to earn some more yield. In fact, I've seen some people, instead of waiting for the Pulse X single-sided staking, swap out billions of Pulse X to go swap it into the yield farm of the Pulse and Ink farm, for example, so they can earn more Ink, because they were thinking they can throw their Pulse X into a single-side stake. There wouldn't be any impermanent loss. They would earn their yield that way. Single-side staking has not come out at this point in time on Pulse Chain for Pulse X. And so because of that reason, people are now looking to basically earn this ink token, and y'all saw it from the low as well already. This thing has already done a 7x move from the low, right? So, and that was actually a 10x move within the span of 38 days. Massive pump as well. I drew this chart. It was a massive increase as well. I didn't really know how high it was going to continue to go. So we'll just kind of keep adjusting this as we go. We do want to touch at least 3 lines we have broken below. So we really want to make sure that we maintain this. However, as we had talked about just a moment ago, we are still making higher highs, higher lows, no matter which way you draw this line. Higher highs and higher lows are still being made, even on the ink token. Currently sitting at $3 and just getting back up to its previous all-time high price from the $3 range is still looking at a nice little 25x, 26x, somewhere in that ballpark of whatever that you purchase right now. And so like that's a massive gain, y'all. A 25x, like if it took you until this time of we'll say April, or we can even zoom out a little bit further as well. Say it takes you until September of 2024 or August of 2024 for you to see a 27, 26x gain. Are y'all really complaining? I would hope not at this point in time, but people are forgetting that when the bull market happens, it goes and it happens fast. Within the span of months to we'll say 6 to 12 months, we just get a massive mega run up, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm expecting. Similar situation as well. Looking at fib retracement levels as to maybe what's possible to reach into the future. Let me go to the all-time low at this point. So you can see we've already gone back. We've retested this 382 level. We really want to make sure to push past that, push out of it, get into the 0.5 level. This is when you start getting into the golden pocket zone for the 618, 786 range. And then how high can it really go, right? And this is where on a on a mega bullish side of things, it just gets absolutely stupid with some of these numbers. You're looking at $2,000 per ink token, right? And again, that's just one of those little plays that I'm seeing. Because typically when you get a massive pump out of when you start making new all-time highs, all the good stuff, people are super elated, euphoria is happening everywhere, people are just buying up green candles, they can't get money fast enough to buy more, right? That's just one of those things that you happen to see. And so yeah, I can see ink doing triple digits, if not quadruple digits. Now whether or not that's this cycle, next cycle, or the cycle after, time will only tell, right? But what I can say is this cycle, I'm seeing triple digits for ink. And for this cycle alone, we're going to be seeing massive gains in the entire RH ecosystem, not only in the incentive token, also in Pulse, also in PLSX, also in HEX. And so these tokens are just, dude, glorious tokens right here. Glorious tokens right here, y'all. But again, Hex Scout has some fire stats. If you're ever just wanting to find some information, you can dive into maybe what these folks are doing. You can see they sent 26 million to this address here. You can dive it all in and, you know, make sure it's all good. So hope that helps answer some hopefully that helped answer some questions right there as well. And yeah, let me say hello to some more beautiful people. DJ Cryptomatic, what's up, my boy? Hey friends, what's up? You never walk alone. What's up, my friend? Yeah, love Hex Scout. It's a great app. Yeah, Hex Scout is also available on both the iOS and the Android. So while it's available as a website, you can also download it directly to your mobile device. So if you want to track and just check out certain wallets, what they're doing, what's going on, see their stakes, kind of get some ideas into maybe forming your own investment thesis. Because folks, at the end of the day, that's what really matters, right? You can gather all the data and information that you want, and that's what it's always been. You want to try to gather as much information and as much data as you can so you can form your own investment thesis, thereby making it that much easier, stronger of a conviction, building forward toward the future. So that's kind of what I use it for. I want to see, okay, cool, if this person has millions of hex, how are we doing it? Why did they do it? Are they staked? Are they holding liquid? Do they have it on Ethereum hex? Do they have it on Pulse Chain hex, right? Dive into some of this stuff and it allows you to see quite a bit. Give me 1 second. The current resolution. Give me 1 second. Let me know if the stream is still good on y'all's end as well. Okay. The stream is looking good on our end. It just says error, so hopefully it is solid. I need to change the resolution, current resolution. Well, I didn't change anything, my friend. I did not change anything. Yes, we can hear Kenny in the background like a shopping mall. Yeah, I love having the background for sure, y'all. Oh, did it do the same thing where it put too much on this one? Nope, I needed that. Yeah, that's correct. Audio bitrate, very fast. Encoder, all good. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I mean, it looks like it's all good right here. Perfect. All right, cool. Silly YouTube kind of getting me all confused. So maybe the higher current bit stream recommend. All right, well, cool. It's is telling me exactly what it's recommending me to do. So let's go ahead and do what it's asking me to do. Output. Okay. All right, we're gonna see if that ends up working out, how it's working, what's going on with it as well. But neither here nor there, folks. Checking out these charts, seeing what's going on into the future. Again, looking at the Pulse Chain or PLSX chart at this point in time. I just mentioned a moment ago, we have actually looked like we are going to be trying to break out of the wedge. It's going to determine which way it wants to go. Now, if you look at the 915 EMA cross, I've said this in the past, when this thing does flip on this little indicator, meaning the 9 EMA is crossing below the 15 EMA, typically that's a bearish signal, by the way. So you would want it to really just try to maintain some sense of support around certain areas. Again, I don't want to see it below really this range right here. So I don't want to see it below 404655. Otherwise, you know, you start looking at the next level as to where it could go down. And then you start getting into 40438. Now, you have to understand there's definitely going to be pullbacks. That's always going to be a thing, right? That's 100% always going to be a factor. So just paying attention to how that could actually play out is something to keep in mind. And yeah, just looking at the overall chart of where we actually got going on, we're still above the 786 level for the fib retracement. So I'd really want to maintain that as well, folks. This is kind of all the levels that we're talking about. The 043, anywhere in this range, I don't want to see it below that little zone. Otherwise, you start getting into retesting out the 618 fib retracement level, which is 4 zeros and a 3. Ideally, we want to just keep on pushing up. Yeah, we're going to have some pullback. The stochastic RSI, incredibly oversold at this point in time. So typically when it has been oversold, it does do a little pump. You can kind of see and correlate the little chart from here on the RSI down here. Again, you can see a little bit oversold down here. We got a pump right after. A little bit oversold right here. Got a massive pump right after. Anytime we've kind of been oversold in this range, we do tend to get some green action. So while the 9 EMA is crossing below the 15, while that typically is going to be a bearish situation, the stochastic RSI is also something that I look at because it kind of keeps it more closer to the actual time frame of what's going on. It's not just an RSI showing relative strength index from the overall time period that you have allotted. This allows me to see more current time. So the stochastic just means it's bringing up, it puts more weight on the more recent price action than the oldest date for the price action. So that's why I enjoy the stochastic RSI, just something to keep in mind. I've said this in the past, we're still mega bullish. The green, we crossed on this on the golden cross back here for the 5200. So as long as that really maintains that, I'm still mega bullish on the overall ecosystem. Can I see some pullbacks? Sure, that's always a possibility. How far the pullback really goes, it's something I would want to really check out. So that's PLSX. Looking at Pulse Chain, they're going to be a similar chart as well. So Pulse Chain, we're looking pretty darn pretty on this one. We're still holding a nice little above stack price. We're still sitting nice little higher high, higher low situation. We haven't fully crossed the 915 just yet, but once again, the stochastic RSI is in an oversold territory. So anytime we've had this, we've gotten some nice little pumps that have followed shortly after. And again, you can kind of go back and just check out each time this thing has been oversold right here, oversold right here. We got a nice little pump as well. Anytime that's been in this little oversold situation, we may end up going sideways, capitulate for a while. But typically when we are in an oversold situation, we get a nice little pump up action as well before you go into an overbought situation. But we're not in the overbought situation just yet. You can see we were there a couple days ago, maybe a week ago or so. So as it wants to maintain this, it's something I'm definitely paying attention to. In the more recent times of the fib retracement as well. Whoops. In the more recent time and what's going on this one, let me just kind of pull this all the way over. We're doing a nice little 618 retest as well. So just kind of checking this out. Let me make sure I can probably end up, do I want to make all these visible? I'll add some color. Might as well. Makes it a little bit easier to see which one's which. So we are having to test this 618 level for the fib retracement for the most recent action. So we got the local top down to where the most recent local bottom was. Overall, based on that sentiment, we are retesting the 618 level. We would want to hold the 618 as a support level and bounce off of it. Again, if you're looking at just the overall patterns for this as well, you start getting into the ABC corrections on these and, you know, ABCD. We could even get into the E and all that good stuff. We really want to maintain this similar situation overall, continue to keep doing what we have been doing. So I'm not really seeing I'm not really seeing a head and shoulders form just yet. And I'll probably go with the Elliott wave because that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So we got a nice little high 1, 2. It's not even quite Elliott wave as well, but I mean, it basically is. We have fallen below, so I would actually say we've already broken out of the Elliott wave at this point, just because typically 4 should never be below 1. That's kind of one of those how it works situation. So I'm not really going to say the Elliott wave is really going to be the necessary situation of what we do. Typically, if we do end up this situation, though, we end up probably about a little bit higher than where the 5 pattern is, which would put the price right around 4 zeros or 3 zeros, 1 7. Again, just folks, something to be paying attention to overall. This is kind of what I'm seeing, just checking it out. Once again, we are seeing an oversold situation on the stochastic RSI. On the EHEX side of things, we do need to be really just getting out of the 1 penny range. We've been holding the 1 penny range now for quite a bit of time, actually. If you were to go back as to like how far this really went back, we haven't really broken out of the 1 penny range, right? So when do I get mega bullish? When we get out of this freaking 1 cent range, right? Like, get us back 2-3x floors above here, right? Like, put us somewhere in this ballpark and you'll start seeing me get a little bit more mega bullish on the Ethereum hex side of things. I really would like to just see us break out of this range that we've basically been in since June of 2023. Now, granted, it had some dips. It went up. It had some dips. It went up. But again, if you just continue to accumulate, we've basically been sideways now for the span of 264 days, right? Again, now I'm not saying that it hasn't gone lower. I assure you it has, right? You can see there was a 70% dip. While that 70% dip happened, we haven't really broken out above it besides a 17% increase, right? So there has been some dips. We are forming higher highs, higher lows, even though it's very small on this little move. You know, based on this situation, we can kind of draw this out. So do we come back and retest this? Do we have a short little stagnant happen? Because we've seen already what kind of kicked off right here. And if we end up doing like a bars pattern trace on this one, just from when it hit the high to low situation right here, this could be a similar situation that we could see, where it ends up doing exactly like this. We're going to see it cross. The 915 is going to cross, which it's about to. 915 EMA is about to cross right here. Once it decides to go back and flip bullish, we actually got that little pump out as well. And even after that, we are still holding in this 1 penny range. So, folks, I really want to just get us out of this zone, out of this threshold, out of this region. I would love to see it go well above and beyond 2, 3, 4 cent hex again. That would just reignite everyone's passion, everyone's fire. Everyone's kind of grown a little bit of impatient, if you will, because of what, 200 and we just talked about it, 200 and some odd days of just going sideways. right? 262 days, 261 days of going sideways. For a lot of people, that's boring. And boring's not bad, by the way, it just is boring. And when you're bored, you tend to make rash decisions. You tend to do something that could end up causing an impact on where your future gains could actually be made. Because you say, well, these aren't doing anything. I'll just trade out of these tokens. This is what happens every single time. I'll trade out of these tokens and I'll go buy the new token that's pumping. My gosh, guys, I can't tell you how many times we've seen this, but you look at the actual chart for Pulse Chain and you just look at some of these new pairs, for example. I mean, you see some of these gains and you're like, wow, that's crazy. But then you see $14,000 in liquidity. So what, you doing like $1 purchase at a time, $2 purchases at a time, $10 purchases at a time before you start incurring massive slippage? Again, that's not something that I'm going to be paying attention to. And most of the time, this is exactly what it ends up doing, where you see a new coin get launched and then it rugs. And so what happens is you end up in a situation, if you can't see that, I'll just kind of pull it up. This is an example of what happens on a new token launching. I'll even pull it on a 15. So you got a new token to launch, this thing pops up all of a sudden, and then you see it rug. And this rug has been a common theme and a common occurrence. So what happens is you get bored. You say, cool, I'm just going to go look for whatever new token is out there, and I'm just going to put that token into this token. And while that can be beneficial and you might be able to make some gains, it's not like you can take tens of thousands of dollars of your Ethereum hex and then go move it into some of these other tokens, because there's just not enough liquidity in some of these new pairs. And so you end up occurring massive slippage. Another 100% rug pull on this one, 100% rug pull on this one, 100% rug pull on this one. Folks, be careful. People do not give an F about your gains, your future. You're the only one that can actually choose that kind of situation as well. So pay attention when that kind of stuff starts happening. I know it's boring to go sideways. It's boring to do nothing for a period of time. But when you're bored, you end up making rash decisions. Have you ever been bored? Have you ever just been so bored that you and your buddies, you and your friends, you and your cohorts, you go start doing stupid shit, speeding around neighborhoods, donuts, taking motorcycle trips? I don't know. And then you end up crashing the car. And so it's like that boredom caused you to go do something that you wouldn't normally regularly do. But because you're bored, you went and did it. You got the exhilaration. You got some fun. You got some excitement. And then you crash. And then you're left without a car. You're left without a vehicle. You're left without anything. And that's kind of exactly what's going to be happening on some of these crypto tokens, my friends, my family, and my fellow crypto entrepreneurs. Like, these are some massive moments to be paying attention to. Even looking at some of the most recent charts, for example, like the Dow Jones, for example. If you go back and look at the Dow Jones and just look at the all-time situation for Dow Jones. Whoops. Let me just pull it all the way up over here. There you go. Give me the whole thing. There you go. So you got the Dow Jones right here. Now, just recently, if you go back and look at it, you have to almost go back and look from a pretty long time ago, right? This is all the way from 1929 is what we're kind of seeing on this one as well. Let me actually pull it up a different way. Give me 1 second here. Cool. That's on log. This is on log. All right. So we're seeing a situation here with the Dow Jones being massively out of price right now. And again, like, you got to look at the stock market from a different perspective, but this thing is making new all-time highs constantly. It's just inevitable for this thing to have a pullback, y'all. And because Bitcoin is tied so heavily now with the index, not necessarily 100%, we know that, but because Bitcoin has also ended up reaching the 786 level, Bitcoin has reached certain levels that it's done in the past. When this thing reaches the 786 level, it likes to pull back. Now, do we see a 30% pullback, 50% pullback? Do we see it go all the way down like this? I doubt, right? I could see it pull something like this though, right? A 50% retracement. I could definitely see that. Why wouldn't it? right? It's done this all the times in the past. So you see a 50% retracement and we're starting looking at below 30K for the price of Bitcoin. Now we're probably going to get held as some support because we got the ETFs going on. We got a whole bunch of other stuff. You got the halving happening soon. There's going to be that buy the rumor, sell the news event. All these ETFs are all popping up as well. Whoops. I forget to swap the screens as well sometimes. But looking at the overall liquidation as well in these markets, my friends, my fam, people are about to go crazy on some of these liquidations. Like there's going to be plenty of people that get liquidated if Bitcoin does in fact reach the 52,000 mark for Bitcoin, right? and this thing happens so freaking quick, y'all. So quick. It's already at the 51,000, right? And so like just a smidge more, which some whales will sometimes do just to wash people out, because they were short on Bitcoin, and then the thing all of a sudden starts reaching these 52, 53, 54K ranges, and then all of a sudden you get liquidated, you lose your money. So I wouldn't go shorting the market just because of what I'm saying right now. I think that's a silly play to do. It's just my thoughts and my thesis as to where I can actually see it going in the not only near term, but short term future as well. Yeah, being bored is way better than being wrecked. Facts. Yo, what's up, Mo digging it? Can anyone loan me a few 100 million Pulse and PLSX? Asking for a friend. Lol. Do I want to bring... Yeah, sure. Guys, don't be... If someone... Look, man, if someone ends up wrecking themselves because of their own stupidity and their DGen plays, let them learn that lesson. Do not bail them out. Period. We've all had to learn a lesson in crypto somehow, some way, whether it be you didn't buy in early enough, you didn't go in hard enough, you went in too heavy, you went in too hard, you took profits too soon, you took profits too late. We all have those lessons that we all have to learn. Let them fucking learn it, right? If you allow them to be bailed out, you haven't taught them, they haven't learned anything. It's basically saying that I can go degen again and you're just gonna bail me out. So when those people are asking for donations because they need to get bailed out, I laugh. Find it comical. I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe in that. Let them learn a lesson, right? We all had to learn a lesson. I've had to learn mine. I haven't made the best plays. We aren't going to make perfect plays. This thing is freaking crazy. You're going to see more money than you've probably ever seen in your entire life in the next 12 to 18 months. What you do with that is something that you have had to have been prepared for during the past items, which is why they say you learn in your first cycle, you earn in your second cycle, and your generational wealth is your third cycle. Meaning that by the time 8 years go by, that's when you would have actually really made the true money. And after the 8 to 12 year mark, if you did everything correctly and just maintained a solid state of mind and didn't get emotional during the massive dips that you were going to experience during a 12-year period of time, you can see generational wealth. And I know everyone wants to shortcut that down to the first cycle generational wealth. I get it. But the shortcuts is not the way to go. The shortcuts don't lead you to anywhere good, right? They're detours in my opinion. I've used this as an example in the past. Let me just take a little sip of coffee, guys. Say hello to some beautiful people. Let me actually throw on this for the Patreon peeps as well. And I'll come right back.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout, and fame, mud, disease, and plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are all this is war with the enemy.
Alright. Hope y'all are having a great day, man. Like, share, subscribe to the content for sure. Come around, come enjoy, come learn, come have fun. If you got questions, you're welcome to come on in, throw them in the chat. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what's happening. Let me know if y'all have any questions going on about anything in particular, for all that matters. Let me just check out some stuff as well. Let's Still saying poor on my internet, which is so weird. So freaking weird. Thanks, ATX. Gloria, so much love to you as well. So much love to every single one of y'all, man. Y'all been here. Y'all been the reason that I've continued to do what I do. And again, I would be having this information. This is stuff I was already checking out in the first place. But it's incredible when you get a chance to experience that with others. And I think that's one of the things that led me and brought me into the community, to the ecosystem. And I'm just happy to be able to share this information as well, because once again, guys, looking at where these charts are going, this is more or less really just the beginning of what we could be seeing as a massive return into the future. A massive return into our future, right? Now we are breaking below on the EHEX side of things. This is pulse chain hex. So we have broken out of the wedge on this one. I mean, we're getting into a range where we're going to be retesting out some of these lower lows situations, right? Which just means be ready for it when it happens. Don't be surprised, because we've already broken out of the wedge. So we're probably going to come back down, retest this little zone, recapture it, probably even hold this level of support is my guess. So we're going to come back down to 1.4 cents, somewhere in that little range. Now again, if it ends up being closer further, we don't exactly know how it's all going to play out. But based on those alone, that's kind of where I would see it going, somewhere down here, hanging out in this little zone, and then bouncing back up, probably going to meet some resistance right around this zone, probably go back down. So we'd really just want to continue to do what we do until it decides to break out. And because they're tied together through liquidity so heavily, what's interesting is when you get in these situations where they start getting tied into liquidity so heavily, when one of these coins start pumping, it does have an action where it actually ends up pumping the others as well. The same effect happens on some dips. So based on this, it looks like the overall market is in a situation where it wants to be bearish, but then you look at these stochastic RSI, and all of them are almost damn near all of them are in a oversold situation. I think Pulse is the only one that wasn't. I think Pulse was still in a slight, no, that one is too. Which one did I check out? Was it EHEX? EHEX, there you go. So the EX chart is sitting right there with the stochastic RSI. It's really the only one who hasn't shown that it's in an oversold situation, which I kind of find hilarious. It's just kind of, it's been going sideways for a period of time, for sure. But all the other ones, Pulse, PLSX, are in an oversold situation. Every time we've had it, we don't like to stay there for very long. It's usually within the span of a week or so, or even three days to a week before we really start pushing out of these little ranges. And again, you can go back and just check out some of these charts as well. From here, when we broke below this range, it was from January, yeah, 7 days right there, right? You get into the next little zone on this one. January 22nd, and this one went until basically January 30th, another 8 days. So expect it to probably do about a week in this little zone. If it wants to kind of break down, it looks like we broke down on the 22nd or the 20th of February, meaning we probably got about 7 days before we start seeing it really want to go back into a pump situation based on the past performance and the past stochastic RSI. Now, again, you can have times where it does do massive moves and it can actually be here for a little bit longer as well. It's not a guarantee like this is 100% going to happen in 7 days. Nah, nothing is guaranteed in life. The only thing that is constant is change. How do we let that affect what our plans are, what you plan on doing, how you plan on doing it? That's completely up to you. That's why I say you got to have the 5 P's of proper preparation, preventing poor performance. The 5 P's are massive. It allows you to come up with not only a plan in place, but also the ability to make some real money on this one too, folks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100% on this one. Yeah, talking about, can anyone give me 100 million Pulse? PLSX? Oh, jeez. You got billions? You want to sell? Just give them to me, bro. Just give them to me. I'll hold them for you. Don't worry. And it's something that I'm doing as well, folks. I've said this in the past. I do have a wallet that I am tracking, that I've been tracking. This is my own portfolio wallet right here. Y'all are welcome to follow it too. It's down in the description. This is my DCA wallet. So far, it's at $7,000. I'm showing that even the smallest of people can come up with $5 a day and invest it into the tokens that they decide to choose. And basically, since September 15th, I've been investing $5 a day. Each of these have roughly around $800 invested. So on my PLSX, it's roughly up 4x or 3x. On my Pulse, it's up 2. On my Hex, it's up a little bit over 1.5 type deal. These are definitely how I'm playing it, and I believe that it's probably one of the best decisions that you can do for yourself is to DCA into any of these tokens within the first 12 to 18 months of any token ever coming out, folks. If you just bought Bitcoin for the first year, right? First 18 months, 519 days, you would have had a chance where your Bitcoin would have been at an average below $5. And then you would have got to see the run up, and then you would have got to hold. And again, when things start making these floors, folks, when the bear market comes back around, ideally you should never see these lows again. So we're in a situation with Pulse, with PLSX, with Hex, with all these tokens that have just launched. And we're in a situation here where, guys, you're still early. Like, imagine we're on a monthly, right? Let me do this. Let me kind of hide this and hide this. So imagine we're here on monthly. But imagine this is just the beginning, right? What if in the time the bull market comes around and goes, what if by that time you start going from here in this little range because you've purchased for 12 to 18 months? And by the way, we're only roughly about, I think it's 286 days in at this point. How many months is 286 days? Let's find out. We're looking at 9.4 months. Okay, we're 9.5 months in, so you still got 2.5 to 5.5 months to be DCAing, right? And if you're really trying to get technical, my ballpark is somewhere in this little range. You should be DCAing until October of 2024. Regardless of what the price is doing, regardless of what's happening, find some way that you can DCA for the first 12 to 18 months of this token coming out. And by the time it's all said and done, we could be seeing prices in this level here, where you're in the 10 cent range, 30 cent range, you're in the 3 cent range. I don't really care how high it really goes because everyone has a different number as to the overall market as where it's possible to go. But just imagine that we end up getting a dip back down. And what if the dip back down is still 10 to 100x higher than your initial average entry price? You're going to be extremely elated, my friends. Extremely elated. It's the same thing that we see with Hex, as a matter of fact, right now, right? Hex is one of those tokens that for anyone who did purchase within the first 12 months of Hex, this is Hex during the first 12 months, 300, this is daily, yep, cool. So 365 days right here. You have an average entry price somewhere in this little zone right now. So you're below the 4059 you've bought for the first 12 months. And then you got to see a massive run up. And now you see a dip back down. And you're still in profit from that little zone as well. Right? Like, what if your average profit during this point in time, you're still up 20x, 16x, 17x? That's big money, y'all. Big money, especially if done correctly. Like, that's why I'm a big fan of not messing with these other altcoins. I'm not trying to play with these other meme coins. I'm not trying to get into the new meme coin of the day. Because at the end of the day, you start looking at where we're at on the Hex chart. Based upon this past performance, we've retested the 618. We're retesting it again for the most part at this point in time. And then you start getting into where you start seeing it go into the future. The 1618 is commonly hit. And guess what that is? Around 2 cents. The 2618 is commonly hit. And that's around 2.5 cents. 3618 commonly hit. Around 4 cents at this point in time, right? So even if you're purchasing right now, you still would get an average of 4x at that point in time. Right? And then probably around this little zone right here, my guess, we're going to have some sell-offs. The 4236 is a very common item where people like to sell their tokens. But what if we maintain this same trajectory that we've been on? So what if by this point in time, that would put it around, that would be incredible, May of 2024, right? Let's get it, y'all. May of 2024, let's make it happen. After the Bitcoin halving, after everything's all said and done, you start getting into where you can start being like, and then we're probably going to see some sell-offs. Right? Now, how far the dip actually goes, again, we don't really know. But it's something I am paying attention to, my friends, my family, and my fellow crypto entrepreneurs. So this is why I say DCA for the first 12 to 18 months. It's not that difficult. I know it's boring. I get you. I would love to see these prices go absolutely bonkers as well, okay? And so when you start looking at where's the possibilities that we could be seeing the prices reach, again, 34 cents, y'all. 34 cents on the pulse chain side of things. That's when we're probably going to notice, guess what? That same sell-off. So you're going to get a nice little run up all the way up here, 34 cents, and then you're going to see some sell-off happen. Now, how far it really goes from that point in time, no one knows. But that's the way I see it playing out. It's a beautiful ecosystem that we're in, my friends, my family, and my fellow crypto entrepreneurs. Woo! Dude, looking at these charts, man, I get so freaking excited for what is about to be happening, and not only the near-term future, but just the generational wealth that you're going to be seeing if you're holding these tokens 5, 6, 8 years from now. That's where your mindset should really be, and I know we want the quick gains, and I get you. I would love to see the quick gains as well. But I'm a fan of seeing it all as well. Make sure the live is still going on. Okay, let me skip ahead. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, live's still happening. Perfect. Well, that's going to be my daily market update for today, my friends, my fam, and my fellow crypto entrepreneurs. I hope y'all have a fantastic day, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with